want a suit.
Hey? Hello, Ed from Crystal Clear Aquatics, and welcome to another Ponds Revisited. This man needs no introduction if you saw one of our previous videos. This is Dan, the owner of this fine establishment and the lucky owner of this lovely pond. And this is almost a year on. Always a good excuse to come back and have a look and see what's going on. And I've got a couple of presents for Dan as well.
Expensive presents.
So, since we last visited this pond, there's been a new introduction, this pond skimmer over here. And we've got a replacement basket for that, which is going in today. I have to say, it is the most expensive stainless steel basket.
£600,
man, isn't it? Awaza, honestly, what are you thinking? £600 for that. But thankfully, as always, Awaza had replaced this free of charge under warranty because one of the handles are broken off. So fair play to them, thank you. But I also have, which you've thrown away, it's not rubbish, another little gift for you. This looks a bit manky.
You shouldn't have.
So this is a little cutting from my pond. This is something called Nymphoides peltata. And it's basically like a dwarf water lily. It sends out runners. I thought it would be ideal for your shallows, just growing around here. Little green floating leaves and bright yellow buttercup flowers. Actually looks quite nice. So we're going to end up breaking this off. Each one of these sort of sections with the roots can produce a new plant, and very quickly it will just spread around the shallows, looking quite nice.
Make hoovering really easy, Ed.
It will do. You're having it whether you like it or not, because it does look really nice. So how's everything been with the pond anyway?
Very good,
Yeah.
very good. We've had a lot of spawning, which damaged quite a few plants. But
Yeah, lots and lots of babies. I don't know if you can
probably
see.
the first time we've had such frisky fish.
Yeah, look at them all. They've really grown as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
And starting to colour up. Fish are looking very healthy. Pond's looking nice and clear, and the plants are looking great. What a difference just seeing the grass. You know, again, it's difficult to remember, but the last time we were here, towards the end of last year with the camera, all of this was just mud.
Mud.
None of that had been chipped and barked. There's been some additional plants grown in there. And the pond marginals, a few new additions, the lobelia. So nice to have some bright red. This lobelia cardinalis, which I've got in my pond as well. It's a lovely, lovely bright plant, really nice pop of colour in something like this. And it really shows off and contrasts nicely against the green. The pickerel plants, pondateria, flowering a little earlier actually than I'd normally expect, looking very nice. And they'll be nice because they're going to continue flowering right through the summer towards the end of the year. But it's all looking really nice. Fish are getting active. So you kept the level quite low deliberately, haven't you? So that the babies, when they were younger, had a bit of a refuge.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to fill it back up now, but it needs another hoover.
Yeah, a little bit of blanket weed and algae in here just because the water's so shallow, but that'll hoover up and respond to treatments very nicely. I see lilies, unfortunately, have been attacked by the lily leaf beetle. There's not an awful lot you can do on a pond this sort of size, but they still look nice. Wonderful. Come and show me the filtration. Let's have a look.
If I'd known you were coming, I would have cleaned it, Edward.
So how are you getting on with maintenance?
Of the filters?
Yeah.
Ah, perfect. Saved myself a fortune not having to call you.
You don't need a pond man anymore. So those of you not familiar, these are the Awaza Screenomatic 2 140,000s. Look at the muck they're collecting, it's doing a good job. Lovely. 21-degree water temperature, nice and balmy. Most important thing with a water blade is to make sure this lip is kept nice and clean, otherwise it breaks that perfect film of water. This is just about acceptable, Daniel, but there's a little bit of muck on there. Bit of wire wool or a fine scouring pad is really good to get that cleaned off.
Do you know the other thing I have to do every sort of week is
You've
have
got
a little...
Yeah.
Just
Just to get some of that muck out there. And you know when it's getting blocked up because the film is broken, yeah?
Yeah.
So something else that Dan and I did a little while ago was we finally mounted some of the lights in the pond. So for quite some time they've been left loose, just in the shallows, some of them aiming up towards the stonework, creating feature lights on the stone, and some of them angled into the ponds. And it gave Dan a little while a good opportunity to play around with positions before they were finally mounted. And we've since dropped the level of the pond slightly, put a few fixings around strategically with some of the lights, and they're now mounted submersed onto their bracket. I think the koi, particularly when the water was a little bit deeper and they were getting in the pond during spawning up into the shallows, they were knocking some of the lights about and they ended up in the bottom of the pond, which is a bit of a nuisance. Your umbrella plants have come back nicely.
Certainly have.
Yeah, we had a very cold winter, very cold, wet winter last year, and a lot of the less hardy plants, this one included, the vociferous, papyrus umbrella plant, tends to be quite frost tender, and most of this died back, but it's nice to see that it's starting to come back now. Very good. And how have you found the skimmer?
Good.
Has it been useful?
It's not the prettiest thing in the world, I'm not going to lie.
No, you lose them in the pond though, don't you?
Yeah, I think I've now become accustomed to its presence, and in fairness, the pond looks great.
Yeah.
With it. So.
It does make a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are hungry guys. Well, it's always a pleasure coming back to see how a pond is settling down and establishing, and this is one pond that I have the great fortune of seeing quite regularly because I'm often passing and bugging Dan, popping in to come and say hello. This is a definite pond that I'd like to pop back and do a proper film again in another year or so, because there's still an awful lot of establishing and development around the pond with the plants, and it will look very different still as it establishes down the line. But for the time being, it's looking so much nicer this year as its first spring and its first summer. Very nice. I'm amazed at how many babies you've had, and I'm amazed at how many babies have actually survived. Doing a good job of being a baby koi parent. So what are you feeding them? This is the medikoi, isn't it?
Exactly.
This is a good food, very palatable. This is medikoi probiotic, a multi-season food that can be fed down to 5 degrees and right through the summer months. I do like the smell of fish food. The fish love it. It's a very good quality food, which is very important. With fish, you certainly get what you pay for, and better quality foods mean ultimately less pollution, they're more digestible, and you end up using less food in the process. What are you feeding the sturgeon? You've got a sinking food?
Exactly, yeah, we've got a sinking food for those, so we tend to feed the koi first.
Yeah.
The sturgeon food is very, very rich, so they seem to like that, so we always do that after we fed the koi.
Did you feed it daily or just a few times a week?
No, so the sturgeon is, to be honest, when we remember.
Yeah.
The guys feed the fish, and the families who stay in the hotel feed the fish probably twice a day.
Yeah.
Poor sturgeon gets fed when we remember.
Well, that's good, because as you said, it's a very high protein, very rich food. There's plenty of live food and natural food in there, which is going to pick off one sturgeon in a pond this sort of size.
Yeah.
As a lot of natural food, so that's good. No, they're all looking very healthy. The skimmer's doing a good job. This is the Awaza LM250 floating skimmer. So what's nice about skimmers like this is you're not affected by the water depth. If the pond level drops, the skimmer floating will drop down with it and continue to work, and likewise if the pond fills up too much, it'll continue to work. If you've got a static skimmer, the little floating collar will only give you a certain amount of movement, a certain tolerance of water depth, and if the pond gets too low or too high, the skimmer stops working. But again, it's a very expensive piece of kit, but well worth it. Yeah, that's doing a good job. Right, well, I think that's it for today. I shall go and sit down and have a drink and enjoy watching the fish. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Ed from Crystal Clear Aquatics, and I'll see you in the next pond. Thanks very much.